Good morning. Welcome back to the Self-Love Show. I'm your co-host, Dawn Light. I am here today with a beautiful guest. I'll introduce her in one sec. And in case you're new to the Self-Love Show, we're stoked to have you. We've been doing this now for we were birthed through the pandemic, and it's honestly we're treading on almost 5 years. It's really awesome. Like, wow, so time flies. So the Self-Love Show has been such a labor of love for Trish and I. She's not here with me today, but we're so grateful to have this in our life, and there's so many gems and blessings of self-love that come in many forms, right? And we all have different curriculum and how to have greater capacity to love ourself and all parts of our life and our relationship with self, the divine self, right? And all self. And so, yeah, we felt like self love was such a wide topic, and it shows up for people in all kinds of ways. So, why not have a deeper, richer conversation all the time around it? And so, yeah, that's what the show is about. We're here to support you. So, don't feel shy. Reach out to us, give your information, and we're on all the channels. We're on all the podcast platforms. Go check us out. There's so many good golden nuggets on the YouTube channel. So, today we have an amazing guest. I'm going to read her beautiful intro here. So, we have Lindsey with us. And Lindsey Maza is a certified self-love coach, leadership coach, and Reiki master with a mission to bring compassion, empathy, and trust back into the workplace on one human at a time, starting with ourselves. After spending 14 years as a leader in the fashion industry, she became burnt out, disconnected from herself, and eventually became a toxic leader. After healing from years spent in toxic workplaces, she saw a gap in the workplace for self love. So now she helps professional women become impactful, effective leaders without sacrificing their well being using foundational self love practices. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. Yay.
I'm so
Welcome.
happy to be here. Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
of course. Well, what you're bringing forward is so key and important, right? I think every person has experienced some level of burnout from their job. If you work in a work environment beyond just, solo, and even self employment can create burnout for people. So I think you're really bringing forward a really important talking point. And let's just dive into your history and like what this was for you. And I know there was a huge learning growth curve here. So tell me more about what this was for you.
Yeah, so I'll just start just kind of with the beginning of my career. So I lived and grew up in Iowa and I majored in fashion and I just decided I interned out in Los Angeles for a summer. So I fell in love with the city. I moved back to Iowa and was like, I don't really like it so much. And like my heart's in LA. So I just like told my mom, hey, I want to move to LA. I had no jobs, no friends, like nothing, no family out here whatsoever. But we packed up the U-Haul, moved out here. I found a random house with some Craigslist people and who are still some of my best friends today, and got a job within a month. And from there, I just kind of kept moving up the ladder. And my second job, I was pretty young. I was like 25, and I got promoted overnight to national sales manager, which means I was managing 70 sales reps and managing, huge key accounts like Nordstrom, Paper Source, like those Barnes and Noble, like big key accounts. And I had to really learn everything so fast. And unfortunately, I had a really toxic leader. So that was my model of leadership, and the fashion industry. Basically, every job I ran into that, unfortunately, which I should have like seen from the hills and like Devil Wears Prada that I was watching that inspired me to work in the fashion industry. But
What do
through,
you,
oh,
yeah,
sorry, go
tell me what you mean by toxic leader. So for those that don't understand what that means, can you tell our audience a little bit about what that is?
ahead. Yes. Basically, it meant that they had no boundaries with me. I was basically supposed to pick up the phone any time of the day. Like if they called me at like 9 p.m. at night, I was supposed to like be on call. Very emotionally and psychologically manipulative. So yeah, if you don't do this right, your sales assistant's going to get your job. Like kind of like threats like that. any mistakes that I made were like the end of the world. Like I remember I sent the wrong link in an email once, and they both like G chatted me. It was a husband and wife owners, and they both like G chatted me at the same time, like telling me it was like the worst thing in the world. And I'm just like, it's a link. Like I'll send a new email, you know, like basically loss of autonomy. Always micromanage any email I sent. They would like reply and be like, why don't you say it this way the next time? So I lost all my sense of like self-trust, any decision making, just literally like lost myself and became disconnected.
It
So
sounds like
yeah,
deeply dysregulating and very disrespectful, no account for your actual well-being, care, compassionate nature, that none of that was there. It was just like, you're a workhorse for me and that's all I see you as, basically. Yeah.
exactly. And I think the tough part about it is like there were such shining, bright, happy moments at that job. And I was there for years and years and years. So this was ongoing for a very long
Wow, you endured this for a very long time. What deep curriculum you had.
time.
Like, you know, like a lot of times these narratives can be in our world because we're working through a deep intergenerational pattern. You know, because if you look at your family history, a lot of times like one of our parents showed up this way, or we adopted the strategy because we've unconsciously witnessed as children someone in our family unit show up this way. Most of the time when we experience really hard patterns in our life, we will look back and see that it's actually a family history pattern. We're working, learning, and healing and growing. It took embodiment to grow through it. So I just think it's so fascinating. And I've done a lot of work in psychology and spiritual psychology. And that's like, I work with people all the time around patterning. And this is like a key ingredient I see all the time. It's like, so it's a carryover, and you are karmically ending that pattern now through your beautiful transition and work and helping others do the same.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's tough because like, you know, I don't really have any like, I think we all do, you know, have like childhood patterns, but like when I have to like think back on it, I was like, no, that is like what disrupted my well-being and like what affects me still to this day. And I was an adult. So I think you sometimes have like this guilt around it that you like let that happen to you when you were, you know, 25, 26, 27 years old. But that's also really formative years of when you're growing up. So
Yeah, formative years, absolutely. You know,
yeah,
it's the years we make the most mistakes. We don't know. We don't know. We're learning to be an adult. We don't really get adulting down until we get into our 30s, 40s, 50s on. You know, like that's when adulting gets like smoother. It smooths itself out because you're just like, oh, okay, I actually got this. Like, all right, you know, you feel more available to handle more because of your
exactly.
healing. Yeah.
And I felt like I had to grow up like really, really fast because I had so much responsibility. And that was, you know, kind of what I was told a workplace was. And that's how I just thought workplaces were because it was like my second job.
Wow. Wow. That is so like amazing that you had the awakening to realize this is actually not supportive. And you know, so what led to the shift for you? Like, was it just complete burnout breakdown, or tell us about that?
Yeah. So, you know, having those leaders, um, I eventually became a toxic leader myself, and I kept going like that for maybe 2 or 3 more years. And then the pandemic hit, and that's when I think we all had time to pause and just be like, what is going on? And I was like, I am not this person. This is not who I am. These are not my values. Like, these are not like how I want to present myself. And that's not how I treat people. So yeah, I took, you know, some self-love courses, and I was like, this is life-changing. Like, I loved it so much. And I was like, this is what's missing. One, like, as humans, like we're not inherently taught this kind of stuff.
Right.
And two, I think in leadership coaching and in workplace trainings, because when someone loves themselves, that shows up in such different energy versus someone who loathes themselves. So I became a certified coach, and I love the workplace, and I love, you know, the happiness that it can bring. I know to some people workplace they don't have that same, you know, I'm trying to look for the right word.
Mindset.
Yeah, the same mindset. Like it should be fun, and we should enjoy ourselves while we're there. And when everyone is at this place where they're loathing it and they're loathing themselves, it's just a different energy.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. And you know, it's really we're so easily affected by our environments, you know, especially if you're a sensitive being, sensitive person, which most people are, or they're just shutting themselves down because they don't want to feel, right? And so it's, you know, it's really important that we bring that energy and that light to everything we do. It's not how you know, we change our experiences by actually how we relate to ourselves while we're going through it, no matter what we're going through. So the like the spiritual principle that I live by is how you relate to the issue is the issue. And so when you lean into actually clearing what's going on inwardly for yourself, it actually shifts your whole perspective on life. And that's the key ingredient to like success in your life is shifting your own perception around how you hold it. And it sounds like that's what you're doing in the workplace for people is helping them find their congruence in their alignment with their work. And it's okay, you might not want this to be a forever space, but how can we make this the highest and best, you know, aligned with your values right now, moment, choice?
Exactly. And, you know, self-love is really the foundation to all of that. And that's what I really try to instill in people because I think it's really confusing. They're like, what does self-love have to do with leadership? And I just want to be like, everything, everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can build the skills, but you're still behind those skills. So the way that you relate to yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you love yourself is going to, you know, directly affect the way those skills come out. So that's why I call it the skill behind the skills, because it is the foundation of everything that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't just be, you know, like showing up like, you know, I'm so this and that, and then on the back end be like self-loathing and hating yourself and, you know, inner nasty talk to self. It's going to come out in your relationships because life is a mirror. We're always reflecting a part of ourself in the mirror of life. And so that's why people that struggle with loving themselves have challenging relationships and explosive relationships and, you know, things that are feel really difficult is because they're faced with seeing an aspect of themselves. And, you know, some people reflect the light of our soul and it's just a genuine, beautiful, deep, intimate connection instantly. And other people will come in because our unconscious enrolls them to show up, to show an aspect of that's like a shadow piece or a darker aspect of something that we had to deal with when we were 6, 7, 8, whatever. You know, age stage shows up no matter where we are in our life. And it's unresolved emotional material showing up through someone saying like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," you know, having an issue, right? And so it's really, we're always given an opportunity every single day in our life to work our curriculum through our work, through our relationships. The pattern will show up everywhere, right? And so I love that you're really applying self-love principles here. And that's like you're making a stand for it, and it's gorgeous to see. And that you've changed your own heart and life because you were like, no, I don't value this way of being, and actually, what do I value? That's
Exactly.
gorgeous. Yeah. So like tell us more specifically around, you know, well, I know we're right in the middle. Why don't you jump into, would you like to share the thing you were desiring to share today about the 6 steps, or you mentioned something about 6 steps?
Yeah. So I have a framework. It's called Layers to Leadership. And it's the same thing I went through. And it's the same thing that, you know, I work with through my clients. It's we peel back ourselves layer by layer, but we also bring in a leadership skill, you know, while we are learning these layers and learning more about ourselves. So the first layer is self-awareness. And this is really just getting to know ourselves better. And this is where we learn a lot of mindfulness tools. So, like journaling and meditation, because we are going to go through a journey why we go through these layers. So it's good to get these set up. And self-awareness is so important in leadership because you want to be self-aware of your actions and how you're treating other people, which I was severely lacking. So self-awareness is so key. So that's step number one. Step number two is self-forgiveness. And this was one of my favorite steps when I was first starting, because I had to forgive myself for how I did show up, and for one, like letting that happen to me, and two, the way I treated other people, and for overworking myself, for burning out, for all of that. It's really important to forgive yourself, and, so you can start setting up your new way of being. And then the third layer is self-acceptance. And this is where your authenticity really shines. And that's really great for leadership, because you don't want to be wearing a mask, and you want to feel safe. And when you feel safe, you are letting other people feel safe too. So we really work on, accepting our true selves, really diving into our self-worth and our value and what our values are. So that is the third layer. The fourth layer is self-gratitude, because it's so important to look at the world with a sense of gratitude, and for yourself as well, because you're showing up and you're doing it. So you're worth celebrating, and you should be doing that. And gratitude is really helpful for kind communication. So we really work on communication as our leadership skill in this year. And then the next layer is self-care. And this is where we want to show up with good energy. And when we are caring for ourselves, we can show up with, motivational, inspirational energy for our teams. And then, of course, this will help you not burn out, and this will just help you enjoy life more because you're caring for yourself. And I want to make it really clear, this isn't just, face mask and bubble baths. This is so much more, and we go so much deeper than that. And then the last layer is self-trust. And this is really a combination of practicing all the layers that we just worked up to, and then also using our intuition and our instincts. We really work on that, and just getting into our bodies a little bit more so that we can learn to trust our intuition. And that helps with decision making. It helps, show up and take action. And it helps you build integrity with your team and build trust, because you are showing up exactly like you said you were, because you trust yourself. And those are all the layers.
Oh, I love that. Like it's so simply laid out, and it's what you mentioned really strikes a chord for me, especially the forgiveness piece, because we can't move into self acceptance of what was, what has been, or any of that. I mean, acceptance is the first step, honestly, but we have to have acceptance for what took place, and then we can move into like the deeper layers of forgiveness, and forgiveness takes time. I do a lot of work with people around forgiveness, and I find that it's one thing to just you go through the motions of saying it, but you actually have to work through the difficulty and the actual energy around that time period of whatever took place, the unresolved emotional feelings and issues, and actually address them and process the unresolved emotional material that's trapped in the unconscious and recreating it in the now moment. And a lot of people like want to skip to just like do one forgiveness and think it's done, but the truth is it's an actual spiritual practice to leverage forgiveness for ourselves all the time. And there's a certain way you can do it, and it's very, very deep and effective when you start to cleanse yourself truly with a spiritual practice of forgiveness. And it really can like clean. It's like spiritual housekeeping. Clean house, and that's when like paradigms shift, where your whole world shifts.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'll speak for me. I'll share this. Like, I had a rejection pattern in my consciousness from childhood. Like, I incarnated. I was a child abuse survivor, and it showed up as this feeling of rejection with my own father. over and over and over again. And then I had that same pattern show up with men on the outside and boyfriends and on and on and on. I had a closer relationship with mothers, so women I had a closer bond with always, but it was always in the masculine side. And I was really, the truth is I was afraid of my own power. I was afraid of my own gifts. I was afraid of my own light. And I had to work that energy and like all the core patterning around men and the trauma that took place. I had to rework it and rework it and rework it. I mean, it took me 45 years to shatter this construct in my consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But when it fell off, my whole life changed.
Exactly.
Like overnight, it was like an upgrade in consciousness. I shattered duality thinking. I no longer saw it through black and white thinking, right and wrong thinking. Like the ego wasn't sinking its teeth in to try to protect me from that trauma wound anymore. It was like it was dissolved. I was showing up in compassion for myself and for others. And like my whole life shifted, like exponentially shifted.
Yeah, same. It's so magical.
So deep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so deep when you're working a spiritual line of, because think about it, you're not only clearing the energy for your own self, and it feels heavy and deep, and like sometimes you're like, I don't even know what this is. It's so heavy. But at the same time, think about it. How many ancestors of yours had this same pattern, right? And you don't know. We have this veil of forgetfulness because we're really one consciousness experiencing itself all the time. So we don't really know. It's the great freaking mystery. But we do know the weight and the breadth of it and how important it is to do the inner work, because we're not only freeing ourselves, we're freeing our children that come after us and the ones that have been behind us. And it's like cleaning a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So good work.
Thanks. Yeah. And that's what, and like one of my clients said that, she had a toxic boss and we were really working on this. And she came to me like after this happened and was like, I didn't let his bad energy come down into my team. Like I stopped it at me. And it's like, it's not easy work, but it's like, we're stopping that pattern from happening. And it's so easy to let it happen. And I'm not like going to sugarcoat it. It is harder to, do this work temporarily. And then, but is it harder to just stay stuck in those patterns or just do the work, right? Like which one's like, choose your hard.
Yeah, it's true. Choose your hard. Which one, honestly, it's to perpetuate it and keep going in it is so painful.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually start unearthing where the real pain came from and what it really is connected to, then the light starts streaming in and the healing comes, and then you start feeling more empowered in your choices to move forward. And then you get the courage, the great courage to keep going, keep going, keep going, So I'm so excited for the work you're offering in the world. Tell us about, I'm going to place your links in the comments for everybody while we talk, but tell us a little bit how we can find you and a little bit more about your actual work, what you're offering.
Yeah. So I'm at, on everything at the Self-Love Knowing, which is KNOWING. And I'm there. I'm the selfloveKnowing.com, Instagram, TikTok. But yeah. And right now I do, if you want to do one-on-one self-love work, that's always available to you. And then I'm launching my leadership program in the fall. And it is called Not Your Dad's Leadership, because we are just doing things different than the previous generation. And we are showing up just with a different energy, different mindset. So, and this is where we go through the steps and add the leadership skills. This is a hybrid program. And then if you want to learn more about self-love and what it has to do with leadership, I have a free challenge, and it's a 7-day challenge. And we just go and learn a skill every single day. And it's just challenging you to show up with self-love as a leader. So that is in the links too. And that is free. So you can just go and do it. And I hope you enjoy it.
Nice. And we can find the challenge on your website itself. Is that?
It's right on the landing page too. So yeah.
Wonderful. That's so great. Tell us lean in a little more about the program itself. What exactly, I know you mentioned a tidbit, but tell us a little more.
Yeah, so this is a leadership program. You are learning leadership skills, but we are building on the foundation of self-love. And it's really all about mindset. It's about your energy. It's about the way you communicate. And it's really about leading with your unique power and your unique strengths. And it's really making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and we just go through each of the layers. So I think it's, so important. And it's really what's needed right now. I really lean into the feminine part of leadership because I feel like that's not taught. So I call it feminine leadership coaching. So it's really like the more soft part, because we're already learning all the masculine stuff. And sometimes we really need to undo a lot of that masculine so we can start balancing the feminine and the masculine. So it is really just learning how to step into our power as women. And it is a women only program. So stepping into our power as women and, kind of undoing all the stories that we've been told we're supposed to act in the workplace and how we're supposed to be, because that's honestly not working anymore. Like the hard type of leadership, the dominance, the hustle, it's just not working anymore. So this is really undoing all of that and building up those more feminine leadership skills.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. I'm just loving what you're offering in the world right now. It's really good. This is so needed right now, because think of all the changes in the workplace going on across the planet. There's so much going on. I mean, COVID really is birthing a new era, and the age of Aquarius arriving upon us, right? And so all these beautiful changes are rising up, and like we need more empowered leaders that are going to lead the way to make the changes in each industry that are needed. And so this is wonderful that you're bringing this to the table to support people to lean back into, like, let's lead with our true values. Let's lead with self-love. Let's lead with love. And that is our most important way of going forward. Yeah.
Sorry. I totally you. I had a thought. I also just wanted to say, as someone who worked in like startups and for toxic leaders, I also felt like I never had a safe place to learn leadership skills, because I always either felt like the person was going to go back and tell everyone, the facilitator would like tell the boss what we said, or you just don't feel safe sharing with your coworkers. So I really wanted to build a safe place for people to learn leadership skills like outside of their workplace, because I think that's really needed too, because a lot of leadership skills, someone comes in, facilitates for an hour, and then you just kind of forget the skills. And this is building that foundation, but building them in a safe place away from your workplace where that's not going to affect the outcome.
Amazing. I love it. You're highlighting a really good point. Safety is everything. We have to feel safe in order to stretch into the deeper layers of healing. And a lot of times, I find people touch in and they think they're ready, but it honestly, like, sometimes it's 2 years out and then they're ready. Like I've had many clients come in my door that thought they were ready, and the truth is they had to wait a little more because they were so dysregulated they couldn't dive deeper until they were situated in a situation that actually worked better for them to actually do the deeper dive. So I'll share a little bit before we wrap the show. So if you're interested in doing a deep dive in your own psychology, your own spiritual curriculum, which is what you took embodiment, the lessons your soul took embodiment to learn and grow through, if you're ready to identify the themes your soul took embodiment to, like, what's my family theme? What has been my real curriculum, your soul's learning, and actually understand it at a whole nother level and move through age stage healing, because this is a really key component to like spiritual housekeeping, like cleaning every age stage so that you're sparkly shiny and it's not showing up in your outer world as conflict with others, right? In the workplace or in your relationships, especially in your relationships, or especially in your actual main relationship, your loved one, and your partner or your beloved. And so I do deep dive work here, and my practice is very full, but I'm still opening a little space for 1 or 2 people to come in, and would love to hold you deeply, would love to take you on a deep dive journey here and really like crack it open so that your authenticity and your gifts can shine forward, because that's really what the ultimate goal is, for you to show up in your fullness, right? For you to show up knowing your purpose and no longer questioning yourself, no more self-doubt, no more patterns in consciousness that aren't working for you, whatever they may be, and really shining at your brightest and showing up in your best self, your best foot forward in life, right? Because we all want this at the end of the day. We all want to feel we came here and expressed ourselves fully with all our gifts, owning it and having it all online. And so that's the work, right? Like, and I just lovingly open the door and offer you this beautiful opportunity and momentum to take flight in your own life. And we'd love to serve you here. Yeah. So you can find me at my website, Dawn Lightamora. Just reach out, send me an email. DawnLightamora.com is the website, and love to talk with you. Love to serve you. Awesome. Yay. Well, it's been a really beautiful show. I'm so thankful that you came on, Lindsey. I love your message. I love your work in the world. May you just exponentially bless up all these leaders and just grow the capacity to know yourself more and more as love's presence. And I can see the love in you, and I can see your intention and your gifts. And I'm just so proud to know you, and bless your business.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for all the work you're doing. That sounded amazing. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wonderful. I would look forward to like seeing more about your beautiful work in the world. And don't be shy to reach out to Lindsey and really like check in with her. I'm sure she's so open to having one-on-one conversation with you if you're interested in this work. And me too. And I just wish all our viewers a blessed day. And we want to say thank you to Love Coach Academy, Scott Katamas, and our beautiful virtual assistants that really freaking make this happen for us. We love you and appreciate you so much. And all our viewers, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving us the views. Thank you for giving us the content sometimes that we need to, like, because we're here to serve you. We want to give you the shows that really touch on your heart and that are important to you. So don't feel shy about reaching out to give us those little snippets of like, hey, do a show on this topic. So without further ado, we love you. We bless your week. Hope you have an amazing week, and we'll be same time, same channel next Thursday. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.
You.